Hello again, you all. This is an intermediate Adobe Premiere Pro lesson on working with audio. Alrighty, we have here our Tangled Scene 25, and let's say that we wanted to make one of these clips louder for some reason. Okay, the quickest way to do that, let's look at this one.
So what? They made you gamble till it hurt?
I'm going to use the plus key to get in there kind of close, and then look at this over here. This bar with the circles on the end allows us to increase the tallness of the audio tracks. You could also do this to the video tracks, but we just want to make the audio tracks taller right now. Notice this horizontal line. This is the volume. Now if I want to make this louder, this is our default loudness line, and I can push it up, and notice my little indicator there is saying it's up by 15 dB. That stands for decibels, which is a sound measurement. And now I'm going to drag this down, and we're making it minus. This is going to be quieter. Now, where we started is at 0. And that's just because we can push the volume up or push the volume down, making it plus or minus from the original recording. Think of 0 dB as the level it starts at. Let's push it all the way up. And let's play through it.
Casino nights.
So what? They made you gamble till it hurt?
No, my mom.
So that made that individual clip louder, but look what else it did. Over here in our volume levels, we've peaked out at 0. With the audio level meters, 0 represents the saturation point where you don't want to go any higher. The two zeros, one in the clip and one in the main level output, can get a little confusing, but they are different things. The volume level actually does decrease on this ruler as we get closer to the bottom. But we never want to see these lights light up here at the top. I'll put this back down to where it started.
So what? They made you gamble till it hurt?
See, it peaked out at -6 there, but it didn't peak out at 0. When it peaks out at 0,
So what? They made you gamble till it hurt?
you're pushing the system farther than it's supposed to go, and the audio could break up. So when it comes to this audio level, the sound will go towards the top, but then if it ever lights, you need to turn something down, and that would be in this direction. Yeah.
So what? They made you gamble till it hurt?
After you see that it's not peaking out, then your loudness levels you'd use by your ear mostly. It's only the peaking you're worried about here in the audio level. Okay, next, with my fine cut finished, let's say I wanted to add some music to this. I'm going to do a Command I on a Mac to open up my import window, and here's the one I want. The file here is a sound file. It's a .aif file, Half Moon Bay. I'll select that. And here it is here. And I'll double click on it. There's no video with it. If you try and grab it in the waveform up here in order to move it into the timeline, it thinks that you want to hear what's in the audio by scrubbing through it. You could turn that off in the preferences, but you still won't be able to move this music file into your timeline that way. What you got to do is, there's more than one way to do it, but what I'm going to do is I grab where it says here, drag audio only. And I'm going to bring this sound file down to track 3 in my timeline. And I'm looking at the waveform, and I'm noticing that this is introductory music. I'll play it for you real quick.
How'd you start?
My parents made me.
Try to ignore the dialogue that's not in the music track.
Mom and stepmom were both charity junkies. Since when is charity considered a game of chance? Look, you know what the biggest fundraiser is?
Now that's where the beat starts, and I'm going to trim this. I could have put an end mark in my source clip before I drag the clip down. We'll do it this way. I'm going to trim this so that it starts right where the beat starts.
Look, you know what the biggest fundraiser is?
Almost. Let's get in here a little closer. Right there.
Look, you know what the biggest fundraiser is?
So what I want to do is, I want to take this audio, this trimmed audio clip, and move it to the beginning of my timeline on track 3. And now let's put this in play and see what happens.
How'd you start?
Alright, so the music is too loud. And we want it loud at the beginning. But then before they start talking, we want the music to get quieter. So what we're going to do here is, I'm going to go over here to our track height slider, and I'm going to slide this so that our audio tracks are nice and tall. And then I'm going to pull the bar down so I'm looking at my music track. Okay, and then we're going to use the pen tool here to create what's called keyframes. I'm going to get the pen tool, and I'm going to click in the audio level line. I think the talking comes in right about here. When I click on the line and I get that, that's called a keyframe. And when it's playing along this way, it tells Premiere that this is the last frame where the volume is going to be this level. And then I'm going to go over here and click with another one, and then I'm going to pull this one down, and as I'm pulling it down, it's showing me the decibel level to where it's going, and I think I'm going to guess it about -20 there. And what's going to happen is the volume will be loud here, but then it'll gradually get quieter so that we should be able to hear our heroes.
High roller, huh?
And then if I wanted to, I could come in here and adjust it a little bit, you know, back and forth, forth and back. If I wanted to delete a keyframe, I context click on it. That's either a right click with a right mouse button or hold down the control key with a left mouse button. And I can delete it if I so desired. I don't desire that. So audio keyframing is very powerful. You can make as many keyframes as you want, with the exception that you need a minimum of 2. Nothing will change with just 1 keyframe. You know, playing around here.
High roller, huh?
How'd you start?
See, no sense on doing that. So we're going to go Command Z on this Mac here, Control Z on Windows, to get rid of all those keyframes we put in, except for the very ones we want to use. Now, another thing I want to do is I want to bring the music here at the end. And we want to start it about here where they're accusing Jesse and he's reacting against it. And I'm going to bring the whole audio clip into the timeline. And of course this has to be lower because it's going to be just as loud and it's going to drown out Jesse here as well. Let's go up to the audio workspace. In the newest versions of Premiere, the workspaces are located under this icon. So when I instruct you to change a workspace, you'll be using this pull-down menu rather than the old across the top links, unless you are using the older version, of course. I click on the audio workspace, and the main thing I want to show you about the audio workspace is this area up here, which by default comes in audio clip mixer, and here's our name of our sequence. There's also an audio track mixer, but let's go back to the audio clip mixer and let's put the playhead over here where our music is, and you'll see that we have audio clips on track A1 and A2, and I can tell that because the volume control is showing. Now I know that this music should start low, so I'm going to take this slider. This is the music clip because we're in the audio clip mixer, and I'm going to take it down to about -20. Remember, that's what was good with Benson and Stabler's voices.
Thought it was drugs, alright? Just like my freaking stepdad. You know, people are gonna hurt me, and he wouldn't lend me a dime.
Where were you Tuesday night, Jesse?
No.
Now let's say that actually I wanted the music to go into commercial. I wanted it to get a little louder before it goes into the commercial. I'm going to take my audio track, slide it down a little bit here. And now rather than doing the keyframes by making the clip tall down here, we're going to go up here, and on track 2 we're going to activate right keyframes. And bring this back a little. And when I put this in play and I slide this up, it will write keyframes to the clip in track 2 according to the level I'm sliding with this control.
I'm Jesse's attorney. This interview stops now.
I pushed up the control with my mouse. And if we have a look, you'll see that it has applied those keyframes. So the trick is, don't forget to activate the right keyframes button. The audio track mixer, which is the next tab over, this is similar to the clip tab, but it's not, these are not individual clips. These are complete tracks. And if you push the volume up or pull the volume down, the entire track will be affected, including every clip within that track. This one labeled master is the overall volume of your entire sequence, which includes all clips and all tracks. So if you've got everything mixed and it sounds good to the ear, but you notice that the overdrive lights are lighting up in these level meters that I was talking about earlier, this is great because it's the master is the entire sequence. So that's what I wanted to tell you about audio in Premiere. And what I want you to do is I want you to put in some music at the beginning, music at the end. It doesn't have to be the music I provided you. You could experiment with what you want. And then export this so we can see and hear it. And that'll do it.